Welcome to Module 5. In the last module we looked at dealing with anxieties and fears, and again that was reinforcing the habit of telling the internal accuser to naff off so we can stay focused and centred on who we be and fall forward into hope, joy, peace and trust, expecting good things to come. And even if things don't go well, just trusting in who we be and our authentic confidence to help us always focus on good things and think about good things for ourselves, for our dreams and for our future. But you know something, I don't know about you, but sometimes we can find that our heads get a bit thick with self-talk and all sorts of thoughts come in our head, and it's in a way it's a bit like the fires in Indonesia. What's she talking about now? Let me tell you. Do you remember a few years back there was a lot of forest fires in Indonesia, and large areas of the land and the cities absolutely got swamped by this thick, heavy smog. And it made it difficult for people to get about, to drive, to walk. They were choking on it. They couldn't see where they were going. It was heavy. And in the same way we can have that kind of stuff going on in our heads. We can have head smog, where we're finding it difficult to focus, make decisions. We can't work out which way to go forward. And SMOG is an acronym, and it's to do with self-defeating language that we have in our heads. So here's an example. Let's look at the S.M.O.G stand for. Have you tried to take on something new? It could be going to the gym. It could be a diet. It could be taking up a new hobby. It could be getting a new project. It could be whatever it is, but you thought, I'm going to try something new. But let's stick with the example of getting fitter. So you need to go to the gym, and so you'll be saying to yourself, I should go to the gym. Or in the case of dieting, I shouldn't have that biscuit. The M, I must get fitter. I must really go and try that new exercise class. I must not have that chocolate. O, what do you think O is? Yeah, you can see from your workbook that the O is ought to. I ought to get fitter. I ought to, take up that tennis course. I ought to try that new diet. I ought to, whatever. And then G is I've got to. I've got to get fitter. And so we use this language, should, must, ought to, got to, and it's nothing but heavy, heavy language because it puts us under pressure. I've got to do this. I really need to do this. And it becomes really burdensome language, and it makes our heads thick because we're feeling under such pressure. How do we deal with smog? Well, you bring in a blast of fresh air and blow it out the way. And what's the blast of fresh air for dealing with smog in our heads? It's very simple. It's I choose to. I'm going to choose. So let me give you an example. I'm going to choose to go to the gym today. Actually, I'm going to choose to have a biscuit. I'm going to choose not to do anything at all. And the moment we use language, I choose to, it's empowering language. I've taken control about what I am or am not going to do, not based on what I have to do, but what I'm choosing to do. And suddenly it opens up a whole wide world for us, because the healthy talk feeds into that change direction of the cycle of grace. So we're not doing it by works. I'm choosing to do something out of grace, out of who I be. But I'm making the choice. I'm staying in control, as in the cycle of anxiety, sitting on that thing, being centered on self. And the wonderful thing about making that choose or choice is it feeds into what I call the talking triangle. And again, you'll see in your workbook, the triangle of respect. I respect myself and who I am, and I respect others. I'm honest with myself and honest with others. But this key one is good choices. I'm making healthy, good choices that keep me at peace and help me move forward. The great thing about choices and making healthy choices for yourself is that it's another of the reinforcing habits that builds up your authentic confidence. And there's something really awesome about being with people who are making healthy choices, because they're making good choices which are taking them into good things. But I'll tell you something else about choices which is fantastic, is that when I deal with the smog in my head and I make choices for myself, I can start to understand why something that I'm in that perhaps I'm not enjoying may be good for me. I want to give a really good example. I remember we were working with a group of young people, and one of the lads said, I want to be a stuntman. And the guy I was working with, who's a film producer, he said to him, great, well what is it you're enjoying about school? What subjects would you like to do to become a stuntman? And this guy said, I want to become really super fit. I want to be at the gym. I want to be in the exercise field. I want to be doing all these things. And the stuntman said, well, the film guy said, well, what about maths? And he said, I hate maths. I just hate this. I hate that part of school. You know, I just hate that. I just can't stand maths. But I want to be a stuntman. So my friend Seth took out a calculator and said, do you know when I'm filming on the film set and there's stuntmen around, do you know the first thing they get out? They get out their calculator. Just like this one. And they walk around and they say, right, if I want the car to go from here to there, I need to know what the distance is, what the trajectory is, what height I'm going for. And this young guy's eyes were out in stalks, because for the first time in his life he realised why maths might be good for him to know. So he then started to engage with maths in a way his teacher had never seen. And it was a wonderful thing, because he really engaged not just with the maths subject, but he started to engage with other people, because he realised that something he'd seen as a I must, should, ought to, or got to, actually was, I'm choosing to do this because now I see the reason behind it. I may have to kiss the frog with this, it's not my favourite, but in order to get my dream, I'm willing to do this in order to get to the next step. And I've got many stories like that where we've seen cultural change happening simply because individuals have made the choice to deal with that head talk, to move away from I should to I choose to do this, and then to see the reason and understand why even something, maybe a job you're in that you don't love, but as a stepping stone to the next place, when you deal with that SMOG language and look back at what you're dreaming, you can say, actually now I can see what I can learn from this, how it's good for my CV, and how I can move forward with this. So there are tremendous benefits from cultivating the habit of making good choices. Again, review this section and put the best things down in the review at the end of your workbook. The most important thing is to take time and think about your head chat, your head talk. Where are you using language around should, must, ought to? What would you rather choose? What would you rather choose? And watch and see how your confidence, your authentic confidence grows in your boldness to say, I'm going to choose this because this is for my good.